This is Jordan Hales, also known as STiXX Edits, and welcome to the official first STiXX Editorials. Play on words a little bit. This is Beef, as you see on the screen here. This is Premiere Pro CS6, and for a lot of people, they may know what editing is, what the skill entails, what the art form is as a whole. But for some people, they have no idea what it is. They don't know the people who do it, or pretty much the process that goes into it. And a lot of people also have not seen a black person do this. So I happen to be a black person who does this. So I'm happy to present it in all its glory. So this is number one of three productions done by the duo of Jabari Weeks and Tashawn. I don't want to ruin your last name, so I'm not going to attempt to butcher it because that would be very rude and disrespectful, so I'm not going to do that. This was a production that we did in March of 20, help me, 18?
18, yeah.
18. And, it was a weird time for a lot of people involved with it, either unemployment or just simple, lapse of creativity. But then Jabari's like, yo, we're doing this thing. We want to shoot it. It's going to be raw as cold. You'll probably hate us, but it's going to be lit, I promise. So we're like, all right, you're whack as fuck for having us stand in the cold, but you know what? We'll allow it. You know what I mean? So this is basically essentially what came about. You can watch the full thing on YouTube. I'm not going to play the whole thing here because y'all are beg and you're bright and ada, so you can go and click on the YouTube link like you're supposed to and watch it and see what came about. But before it got to this beautiful timeline where you see one video track, one and two audio tracks, it looks something like, something a little bit messier like this, where you can see the different camera angles. You see kind of reference on top. Like when I was finishing it, the color isn't as good as you can see. It's still kind of flat. Yes, that's me. Shout out to Vanessa Adams. She's the littest in the city. And then you have all these different audio tracks where it's you have dialogue over here. So it's either my microphone or Vanessa's microphone, and then you have ambient noises down here. And then shout out to Phil Whitmer, Vice alum, Mandan. Here he did the score for this. He did a bunch of music for a bunch of productions as well with Jabari, and so the timeline looks a little bit messier and a little bigger, like so. And this is the reason why you got to go through the process. And even before this, I had other camera angles kind of stacked on top, and then you have to go through different takes. So then when you go through different takes, as I select here, and then I go to reveal and project, all the camera A footage that you can see here is just all right, these are all different takes. You see Tashawn holding up the slate in the first frames of action, and you you have your bloopers and stuff. So the best thing that you want to do is you want to have everything organized, right? I was an assistant editor for about 5-6 years, and before I really got into editing prominently, as an assistant, you're charged with the task to organize all your footage. So you want to organize it in the best way possible so that's easier for you or easier for the editor to really get access to. You know what I'm saying? So you want to organize things either by day, by scene, or whatever it is that you want to do. So I had my camera A footage, that's in my master footage, right? And that's just master for the whole thing, and then camera B, and then I split them into sequences. So I'm like, all right, day one, this is what we shot here. You know what I mean? So this is everything that we did on day one, reaction stuff or whatever. Some of this aesthetically pleasing things didn't make it into the cut, but it's still stuff that they shot because, when you're a director, you go in and you have a vision with it. You are in charge of this crew of people, whether it's sound, whether it's camera operators, whether it's actors, whether it's lighting, grip, anything else, right? You are the head honcho. All right, look, this is how I want my shot to look. We need to make it look like this on the storyboard, make it reflect what is put in the script and all that stuff. So there's a lot of things that go into it even before I get access to it in the edit suite. So that needs to be acknowledged because making something that's 5 minutes or 30 seconds even, or even 15 seconds, everything takes a lot of effort It's a lot of process. It's a lot of behind the scenes pre-production work. It's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of people like, yo, that idea is actually stupid, or like, you're stupid. So why don't you just take your opinion and go elsewhere, because I'm sticking with my vision. There's a lot of butting heads, and that's what you really need to know about the creative process. You gotta slate things, you gotta prepare for things, and you also have to prepare for things that you're not in control of, especially when you're on set. It could be really cold or really windy. You have a lot of people in the background. You have car alarms going off that you can't turn off because it's somebody else's car and somebody else's home, but you can't record because you're gonna have all that stuff bleeding through. Even though if you have a lavalier mic, you have a boom mic, whatever, everything goes wrong. Batteries die. People get cold. People get hungry. People get frustrated. There's a lot of things that you don't necessarily control that can come into play, and the best thing that you can do as a director is kind of hold everything together and make sure that everything moves forward. So I think for Jabari's first crack at really directing, as much as myself and Vanessa gave him shit out of love, and because it's winter and men's are black and we're cold as hell, so all that considered and factored in, I still think that he did a pretty good job, so I'm proud of him for that. And for him to ask me to edit this, I'm proud to have done it, because I've only ever done one scripted thing before, and never saw the light of day. But the fact that I finally got something scripted short out the way, and I happened to act in it as well, that, I think that was pretty cool to come about. So that was day one stuff. Day two stuff is I don't know if a lot of you have seen the Twitter clip of myself and Vanessa beefing over which Toronto Jamaican patties, Toronto subway station Jamaican patties are the best ones in the city, whether it's Warden, Bam Bam Bam, or Islington, Dr. Rosclott, or Bathurst, or it can be Eglinton Station, which is a sleeper. Kennedy, it's okay, but at the same time, the main focus was Warden and Islington on this front. But it is a common argument that is made. And so, we had some of them, we had two cameras set up, as you can see right here. I cannot tell you the specific cameras. I'm not really going to dive into all that information. If you want that information, I'll probably put it in the comment section, whatever, or in the description, but that's not really necessary. That's not what we're here. But as you can see, you have two takes, or you have, it's one take, but you have two angles. And what it is just a lot of things with the editor, you're trying to, it's a dance, really. It's a dance with the audience. That's a piece of advice that I got when I was 21 years old, and it's always stuck to me, because with pacing, you want to kind of hold people's attention. You want to be interact with them, although you can't necessarily interact with them. Some people's style is completely ignoring the audience and just interacting within the movie itself and just not caring about what the audience thinks. But different strokes for different folks, and then it's a long process. All the shots that you want, and specific lines or reactions and everything else, and just having all this footage and having a certain way. Yeah, I can have the script right in front of me. I know what the lines are, but in terms of when the lines are said, or what's brought in, or is there going to be a sound effect here? Is there going to be a push in? Is there a moment of real reaction that needs to be a point of emphasis? Those are things that you as an editor can guess in your mind, and it's just all right, you know what, I think this is cool, I'll just go with this, because a lot of editing is instinctive. You can read the book on editing and how to use the program, and you can be oh, I've watched every movie ever made, I'm the biggest cinephile in the world, so I know how to make this cut from Kubrick to fucking, it doesn't matter. I have no name that comes to my head, but yeah, exactly. So you can have any idea of how to use a program, or have an idea of how you want to cut it, but it's just what? At the end of the day, your instincts are going to come into play, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day. And you just have to roll with it, and then through the collaborative process of sitting with Jabari or sitting with Tashawn and going through the cut, and just all right, yeah, this is cool, but I kind of want to go here, I want to go here, and then I can be well, I think that's whack as fuck, but You know what? I guess I respect your opinion. I mean, that's not necessarily verbatim the conversation that went, but it's not far off. Um, but that said, between like the 2 days and like as you can see here, that's about 30 minutes of footage on day two, and then day one was about 36 minutes of footage, and then for the final master, like it's just roughly or 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And getting it to that point, actually 4 minutes and 19 seconds. So basically, you're taking an hour's worth of footage and cutting it down to 4 minutes. You know what I mean? So that's a lot. Like of actual on-screen camera time, it's 4 minutes and 5 seconds because you have graphics and everything else, and then you have to consider like speaking lines and all this stuff. So there was a lot that went into this, and um, really, it was all about trying to execute it in a way where it was entertaining not only to us because we have to enjoy it first, and if we don't enjoy it, then audience are not going to enjoy it. And I think the point of emphasis that Jabari came with this production was like, you know what, this is such a Toronto aesthetic, and it's such a common thing in different corners of the city. That's just like, all right, this has to be told, and you guys are the perfect guys to like kind of do this because of your personalities. And I'm not just gassing myself. I hate doing that, but that's pretty much what it was. And so you know it was tasked to me to like really bring that to light. So the whole premise of it, like we're going to see an apartment. I have my friend with me. It's just like, yo, what do you think of this apartment? And then I'm just kind of stressed out about it, and like the different shots that are here and whatnot. So there were a lot of cuts in it just because there are a lot of reactions and such. And then you also have like the kind of subtitle. Shout out to Shireen Taylor. Shireen Taylor with the graphics. She's like true galdom out here. So that was lit. And then also shout out to Renelle Brandon. She did all the man and makeup. Made man's look pretty, and at the sunlight, it's cold, but it's fine. So yeah, it was just a lot of playful banter. In terms of putting the cuts together, I just basically like I said, took from the script, put things together. There were shots that we thought we had. There were technical issues that came about that I couldn't have those shots if they weren't usable. So a lot of it as well is improvising on the fly. You know what I'm saying? And so then what you want to ensure is like you want to make sure that all of your exterior audio, so these are like your exterior audio tracks, you want to ensure that those are sunk together, and that's the reason why we slate, because with the slate, that is when you're combining audio and visual together, right? So it's like, all right, once that clapper goes, as you can see here, once that clapper goes, and it's like, all right, take one, whatever, you hear that clap, that's when your point of audio on your microphone or on your boom mic, so a lav or a boom, you sync that onto your timeline, and then that's where you're able to be like, all right, so this pairs with this shot. So if I need to isolate something, like, all right, I need to isolate my audio track, or I need to isolate like Vanessa's audio track, whoever is speaking at the time, or if somebody has a boom mic but they happen to get more ambience, let me get that ambience stuff. Also, getting room tone, that's important too, but that's on the production side. But that also plays into how your overall post production is going to be like, because you also have to do sound design. It's little things like, all right, if we wanted to get really complex and deep into it, we could have recorded footsteps and recorded the trees blowing or birds chirping, whatever birds were out there in -10-degree weather that we're enduring. But that also plays into editing because sound design is really important and key because it brings the realism into it, depending on what the production it is that you're making, right? So a lot of that went into there. So sync audio is just a bigger part to a production as this video, but the video editor really brings everything together and strings everything along. Yeah, RIP to this Patty. Don't worry, it wasn't me. I don't know where the Patty came from, but that's one of those hidden gems. Like if there's the director's cut that ever comes out, with director commentary. Y'all can yell at Jabari and Tashawn about that. You don't have to yell about me about that. I just have to put it in. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of elements. You have your cutaways as well because you have a story to tell, and that's the thing about short scripted productions. They're narratives, but there are stories that have to be told, and you just have to kind of move them along. And what isn't taught is okay, when you're supposed to put these lines in and whatnot. So one aspect of it is all right, you get every line that is spoken. You can put every line sequentially when it's supposed to come about, and then from there you can kind of build out, build out, build out, right? That's one technique, and I think I kind of use that technique for this one in particular because it's all right, I have all these lines, but how are they supposed to interact with each other? How am I transitioning? Obviously for something that's the first go around, there were a lot of things that we could have done different in terms of how we transition from one scene to another. But I think we just wanted to make it as simplified as possible. But as time went on, and as they really honed in on their own tools of storytelling and whatnot, kind of getting from point A to point B, then that's where it got better. So Beef was a good initial breaking point for a lot of people. And as you continue to go along, as you see there are more cuts and more cuts because as you can see the point of emphasis and the conversation is moving. Whereas you have this one long shot here, it's just all right, we're just walking and talking, kind of let everything kind of just go. And it's whoa, what's going on? I don't understand what you're doing. And that's just something that was really fun. Me and Vanessa, we kind of ad-libbed at times. And it's just all right, I just let this breathe. You know what I mean? You didn't want to kind of break away from that. Whereas when you got to the point where it's all right, we see the issue and then we're bringing it out, and it's all right, this is what's happening here, and this is
definitely. Look at how sus this shit looks.
So then you have her talking, and you have my reaction, what's going on? I don't understand. You hold on the reaction. Didn't have to do that. Could have just went all right there for 2 seconds and cut away, but it's just you want to have that reaction, right? And then you have, other graphic elements that kind of come into play. You have extreme close-ups. Those are the things that I kind of why I wanted to play with. It's all right, I'm not even mad at it. It's yeah, you have the graphics that comes into play as well. And it's just big wide shots and everything else. Really minimalistic, but at the same time still artistic in the same respect. So there's a lot of things that came about, and it was really funny and just very Toronto aesthetic and Toronto pleasing, whether sonically or visually. We both have our winter jackets, but we're still looking fly as hell in the black skin. So that's just what we do. But it was really a fun experience, and for scripted, it can just be anything that you kind of put pen to paper, and then paper to storyboard, and storyboard to camera, and camera to reality, and then you take all that footage and you put it in the edit suite, and then this is what you come up with. So it was a great experience from start to finish. Shout out to everybody who was involved with it because I think it was really well done, and it was a great exercise for me to really see what it was like to get back into doing scripted formats, and obviously there are a lot more complex things that you can do. But yeah, it was really dope, and I'm happy about it. Shout out to the whole staff. Shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? Colorists, boom operators, camera operators, head to toe. You see that head to toe there. You see actor there. Although I don't know as himself because I'm pretty sure that we had other names, but I don't know. I'll leave that to the director. That's his call. Anyways, I hope that you took away some vital information from this, although it was short, but at the same time, it still has some gems. If you have any suggestions as to what you may want to see, if there's, like I said, I don't have a lot of techniques, but there are some things that, little tricks that I do in other things. But yeah, that's that, and I hope you enjoy.